I wonder, you speaking as a woman,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very common thing for humans in general to feel if they're able to have enough self-awareness to be able to identify that it seems like almost as though I'm wearing a mask throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Women, I would imagine, have an even higher level of pressure
Yeah.
to wear a mask to the point that they actually physically put masks on their face every day.
Yeah.
And plastic surgeries and all the different things. And men have their own iterations of all that as well. But I wonder for you, speaking as a woman, what are specific, what evokes a sensation within you from your partner or from maybe, I don't know, your community, people you're with, or yourself that makes you distinctly feel safe to be like, wow, I really want to be seen at a more vulnerable way. And I don't feel like there's any necessity to wear the mask.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. My reasons are a lot more brutal than that. Because when I hear you say it, I'm like, oh, those aren't my reasons. I don't care about safety. I care about not having to go back and do damage control, apologizing, staying in a situation intertwined way too long because I stuck my foot in my mouth.
Yeah.
My thing is, I'm always looking for the most efficient, clean get outs. Unless we're in a very intimate dynamic, like we're friends and we're having a real conversation, then it's just all there.
Yeah.
But if it's like just day-to-day interactions with people, I'm looking to never be offended. I'm looking to not offend you if I can help it. I'm sort of looking to avoid all things that take excess energy that have nothing to do with anything. So actually, my reasoning is not about safety; it's about unnecessary entanglement. And if at the end I've made a real, what has landed so clearly for me is that to be loving and compassionate and empathetic when I can is always the best way. It is not always the natural way. So I use that space, that time to say, okay, what does that look like for you to show up that way? And you know me a little bit. It's still not really warm and fuzzy, but it is of love and it will be of service, but it still has my tone to it, which is, it's pretty matter of fact. So I think I just figured out, if I was creating this code to live by, what were the dynamics that I would be able to do that? Because I'm not actually worried about being direct or telling you what I really think and feel, or saying something that might be uncomfortable. It's more about, is it necessary, and is there a more productive way to get this done than kind of those tools? And so I think I'm usually trying to measure that out.
So it's more like a surgical thing for you. Like this is the best, most like the stoic approach is the best approach to get the job done in this. And maybe I don't need to entangle so much like deep, vulnerable, kind of sappy emotional stuff. And I'll just kind of put on like the mask to get her done.
Yeah. But I'm happy to be very honest about how I'm feeling, but it still comes across like, not such a reveal. It comes across as like, here, sort of a matter of fact, this is what I'm experiencing. So that ability to observe, at times even can be about like, oh, I'm feeling frustrated. It doesn't mean I'm going to be taken down by my frustration. I'm going to
Yeah.
be, sidelined. It just means, oh yeah, that emotion is higher today.
Yeah.
So
I wonder, so you've been in relationship with Laird for, you mentioned before, 28 years.
yeah, we've been together.
You got married after a couple of years.
Yeah, we've been together. So November will be 29 years. We've been together, married, 27 years, same time in November.
If you had to place a finger on some like a couple, secrets to longevity in a marriage,
Yeah.
what would be a couple things that stand out?
Aaron, it's so interesting. I think it's like parenting, right? It's so wildly personal what people want and need and what works between two people. What I will
Yeah.
say that maybe has shown up it seems pretty powerful if each individual is coming to the relationship with the idea of serving the relationship and the other
Mm.
person.
Yeah.
Having said that, I always joke, there, Laird and I there's a military term, mutually assured destruction, MAD. I think in our case, what happens is both of us have pretty strong boundaries and pretty strong personalities. And so what we've decided, what's an interesting thing is it's almost created a neutrality for us where we don't even bother. I am not nicer to any person than I am to Laird. And so, usually that's the person that's in your pocket that annoys you. You annoy them. You're on top of each other. Why do you talk so loud? I've heard that story before. It's just like, I mean, we've been together a long time, right? And then you add kids and the stress of, oh, that kid's doing that. And one parent's like, that's okay. And the other one's like, why are they doing that? And, whatever. But if I come with the attitude of, I'm here to try to make your life better, let me pay attention in the ways that seem to be right for you. And simultaneously to that, let me have a really strong sense of self and what I would like and what I need to kind of get through my days and also where I'm building towards. And that has really been powerful because what I have learned, and that's why, for example, even me wanting to monitor, I don't want to control. I want to be in charge of my emotions, right?
Yeah.
It's like I just want to move as much towards positivity, meaning positive words, positive support. And sometimes you hear it usually with somebody who's like kind of more like she's soft and she's in a flowy dress and all that. But I know that to be of service and love is the end game. I know this. And so that has really helped. Now on other kind of more not superficial, but let's say further down the rung of the ladder, Laird and I have a practice of a closeness or intimacy that has to do with us as a couple, not just we're parents of kids and it's like we're just going back to being a couple. I think we do that naturally pretty well, and I actually give Laird the credit for that because the way he treats me, it's like he still treats me like his girl, So what happens is that evokes kind of that sort of timeless girl within me that I direct that energy back at him. So he's very generous in that. But that of service part and making yourself happy, because nobody, even the best partner and the best partner for you, cannot do that for you. And especially as you get deeper into years and you become in some ways simpler as a person, because hopefully you're getting a little more mature, but then also you're more complex because you're looking at time and how much you don't have of it and what you want to do with it. So there's sort of this simplification, hopefully some wisdom's happening, but also then some really fine complexity of like, hey man, what is it really all about? So I think coming into it with that has been helpful. And then, maybe similar values, how you get there very differently, but maybe how you feel about nature, your health, money, all this stuff, even kind of what time do you want to go to bed? If those sort of line
Yeah.
up, that feels nice.
Yeah.
And,
What is? Oh, go on.
no, what
Sorry.
I was going to also
Continue.
say though is yes, in the worldly terms, we've maybe been together for a minute, but I want to remind people that you can have also a successful relationship that lasted for 10 years. Like I am
Right.
not of the thinking that it's like, hey man, unless you run it out till somebody dies, it wasn't a thing. It's like I see a lot of couples that kill it for 8 years or 10 years or 15, and that was a success. So I also think
Yeah.
sometimes certain relationships have timelines.